Before we get into today's edition of Just the Truth, Mike Lindell sent me a note yesterday. He has a special for the 6-piece towel set, $25 when you use promo code Joey. Just go to mypillow.com, use promo code Joey. You'll get the $25 offer on the 6-piece towel set, and I promise you, these will be the most comfortable, the most absorbent towels that you own. mypillow.com, use promo code Joey. Get the 6-piece towel set for just $25. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition Studio. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. The list of questions of how another would-be assassin got so close to President Donald Trump is growing by the minute. The latest, it appears the area where the alleged gunman was staked out is a well-known place to the paparazzi as a good vantage point to get some good photos of the president and other celebrities while they're playing golf. We have the latest details for you. Palm Beach County State Attorney Dave Aronberg says that maybe U.S. Secret Service should have had someone patrolling the perimeter to prevent a potential shooter to even get to the fence, and especially to have the time to set up and wait literally hours. It's reported that this gentleman was there at 1 a.m. Sunday morning, waiting more than 12 hours for the president to come through on an unannounced round of golf, by the way. We have those details, too. Also, Senator Josh Hawley dropped a bombshell whistleblower report exposing Secret Service failures in the July 13th assassination attempt on President Trump as well. COVID is over, and it's time to go back to work. That seems to be the message from Amazon, as they've notified employees that Amazon will start expecting most employees to work in person 5 days a week starting January 2nd.
I told you we'd be back.
And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
It's Joey Hudson.
I wanted to name it the Joey Hudson Bill, but, they don't allow you to put names on bills. But I wanted to call it the Joey Hudson Bill because I know that one's been near and dear to you for a number of years.
That's how it's done. Let your voice be heard.
And the truth shall set you free.
Here's Joey Hudson.
As law enforcement officials begin sifting through the available information to understand just how a gunman came so close to getting off a round from a relative short distance at President Trump on Sunday, just like Butler, Pennsylvania, the question is how. How did he get there, and how did he go undetected for this period of time? Evidently, the area where the alleged gunman was set up was not such a secret. Turns out the tree line at the Trump International Golf Club in West Palm Beach, Florida, has been known for years to be a great vantage point for paparazzi photographers looking to catch a candid glimpse of the former president and other VIPs who may be playing with it. Still, suspected failed assassin Ryan Wesley Ruth was able to camp out there for nearly 12 hours Sunday with a rifle aimed at the course, according to a federal affidavit. He even brought snacks, according to prosecutors. A Secret Service agent patrolling perimeter eventually spotted the gunman, opened fire, chasing him off before anyone was hurt, thank goodness. Local authorities say additional perimeter patrols would be an obvious safety upgrade when Donald Trump comes to town. Trump is also known to frequent the course when staying at his Mar-a-Lago resort, which is just about 15 minutes away. And even though the visit wasn't on the president's schedule, anyone staking out the area could have been tipped off to his arrival by the motorcade. Palm Beach County State Attorney Dave Aronberg confirmed this this is an area of the golf course that is frequently by the paparazzi to get photos of the president and other celebrities.
Yeah, because there have been previous individuals who have taken pictures of the former president while he's golfing. They've gotten through the shrubs and been able to poke a camera through the fencing. You would think that perhaps maybe they would consider someone scoping the perimeter. But with that said, I don't blame Secret Service. They could have more resources, but it's a huge area to cover. It's not so easy just to keep walking around at all times because someone could slip in and slip out. This is a major road that abuts the property on both sides, two sides of the property. So, that would be a major challenge. Plus, the area, although the property itself is a beautiful property, the area surrounding it has gas stations. There's a strip club right nearby. There's the county jail that is hovers over the golf course right next door, where inmates will bang on the bars on their cells sometimes to disrupt the golfers. So it's a challenge to guard him at the golf course. Not impossible, but it would take more resources. But if you have someone who is dead set on doing harm, they could get through, as this guy did. He was willing to wait hours in the brush to try to get a shot, apparently, at the former president.
According to local officials, photographers routinely announce their presence to Secret Service, and it's well known where they can get a good line of sight. This, according to the New York Post. They're rarely asked to leave, an unnamed photo agency told the New York Post that quite often photographers who are known by the Secret Service and local law enforcement are allowed to stay there to take their photos. On the other hand, the source speculated that the threat of running into a photographer may have influenced the suspect's positioning in a remote area of the perimeter that actually had poor sight lines to this particular hole on the golf course. Authorities say he never had a chance to lay eyes on the former president until, unlike the recent failed assassin in Butler, Pennsylvania, where a bullet grazed Trump's ear, killed a bystander, and wounded 2 others at the campaign rally. Aronberg said that he doesn't blame the Secret Service and noted that the course covers a large amount of space between the 2 major highways. He says that the only suggestion he has is maybe the U.S. Secret Service should have more agents patrolling the perimeter and not allow people to be in place like this.
The only thing that I think could have been done differently here is that perhaps some resources to have more Secret Service that walk along the perimeter, especially when you just recently had an assassination attempt in Pennsylvania. I think that there could be a benefit to having a Secret Service agent roaming the perimeter to make sure no one is hiding in the bushes, no one is parked that close off the side of the road to the property. I mean, there are things that can be done. In Palm Beach, they've shut down the road outside of Mar-a-Lago, even when the former president is not there at Mar-a-Lago, and it's created great anxiety amongst Palm Beach residents. It's harder to do that in West Palm Beach, but you can do other things. It will take more money. It will take more resources. And fortunately, the Secret Service increased its resources after the first assassination attempt, and perhaps that may have made a difference here because one of those Secret Service agents did their jobs and found the guy poking his rifle through the fence.
Now, Pat Diaz is a former Miami-Dade homicide detective who is now a private investigator in the area, told a local media outlet that a canine sweep around the fence line should have been a routine step ahead of the president's arrival, even though it was unscheduled. He said they didn't check the exterior clearly. In addition to photographers, homeless people have also been caught loitering around the fence, he said, welcoming Governor Ron DeSantis' announcement of another investigation into security at the course at the state of Florida's level. According to the FBI, phone pings show that Ruth arrived at the tree line around 2 a.m. Sunday morning and hid there until the agent found him around 1:30. According to the reports, he brought a bag of food, a video camera, and the rifle with the scope that he dropped to the ground as he fled from the Secret Service. Acting Secret Service Director Ronald Rowe praised the agents during a news briefing yesterday, telling reporters that Trump's security detail conducted a textbook response to the event.
As former President Trump was moving through the 5th fairway across the course and out of sight of the 6th green, the agent, who was visually sweeping the area of the 6th green, saw the subject armed with what he perceived to be a rifle and immediately discharged his firearm. The subject, who did not have line of sight to the former president, fled the scene. He did not fire or get off any shots at our agent. With reports of gunfire, the former president's close protection detail immediately evacuated the president to a safe location. The protective methodologies of the Secret Service were effective yesterday. The former president's protective apparatus allowed for the early identification of the threat and led to a safe evacuation. The increased assets directed by President Biden were in place yesterday. These included the counter-sniper team elements, counter-surveillance agents on the exterior, counter-assault teams partnered with local tactical assets from the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office, and counter-unmanned aerial system elements. All of these entities were present yesterday. And while all of these assets were in place, as I've said publicly, we must satisfy the basic requirements of the Secret Service's protective methodologies. In partnership with local law enforcement, we did just that. And the agents' hypervigilance and the detailed swift action was textbook. And I commend them and our partners for an exemplary response in keeping former President Trump safe. And I will tell you, having served in local law enforcement in Palm Beach County, I can state that I am tremendously impressed and appreciative for all of the efforts of the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office and Sheriff Schneider with the Martin County Sheriff's Office. But what was critical to this was the quick reaction, the response, the hypervigilance of the men and women of the United States Secret Service, who since July 13th have been rising to meet an unprecedented and hyper-dynamic threat environment. And they are rising to this moment, and I could not be more proud of them and the way they have executed, not only yesterday, but what they're doing today and what they are doing tomorrow and what they will always do because it is their duty. Thank you.
Well, I guess we have to give them credit for stopping it. Textbook, I'm not sure. And don't you think more questions need to be asked about this, quote, off-the-record round of golf? Supposedly it was a last-minute round. How did the guy know he was going to be there, and why did he wait 12 hours, or was it just a hunch? Your comments are welcome on the Firmin Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Emails always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. PhD Weight Loss wants you to know, yes, you can. You can get back to your ideal healthy weight. Yes, you can get back into sizes you thought you'd never see again. And yes, you can get rid of that harmful belly fat, all without becoming dependent on medication loaded with side effects. Hi, it's Joey Hudson here. PhD Weight Loss encourages and equips you to lose weight the healthy, natural way and keep it all for the rest of your life. Dr. Ashley Lucas, a licensed registered nutritionist, developed a solid plan that works. Trust me, I lost 30 pounds. You see, PhD Weight Loss removes the guesswork. They literally tell you exactly what to eat each day while you watch the pounds melt away. But they also teach you to think about food differently and to learn to anticipate and navigate situations that make you want to indulge. PhD coaches will teach you to believe finally that yes, you can do it. With no gimmicks or lifelong medications, finally lose the weight and keep it off. Yes, you can. Call today. PhD Weight Loss, 864-644-1900. That's 864-644-1900, or go to myphdweightloss.com. It's pretty obvious there'll be another investigation into the Secret Service. We haven't even gotten finished with the investigation looking into the Butler, Pennsylvania attempted assassination back on July 13th. In a pretty alarming report released by Senator Josh Hawley yesterday, whistleblowers have revealed some pretty big failures by the U.S. Secret Service in preventing an assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump. The near-fatal incident where he was grazed in the ear by a bullet and really showed just how vulnerable he can be at these open-air rallies. And look, with the golf course incident, I mean, you almost are questioning whether Donald Trump can even be outside at all. So in July, Senator Hawley sent a letter to Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas of the Department of Homeland Security highlighting some of the allegations from a whistleblower regarding the security measures taken at the Trump rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, July 13th. The letter reads, the whistleblower alleges that the U.S. Secret Service repeatedly declined offers from local law enforcement to utilize drone technology to secure the rally. They claimed that after the shooting took place, the U.S. Secret Service reversed course and requested local law enforcement to deploy their drone technology to surveil the site in the aftermath of the attack. He goes on. According to one whistleblower, the night before the rally, U.S. Secret Service repeatedly denied offers from a local law enforcement partner to utilize drone technology to secure the rally. This means that the technology was both available to the Secret Service and able to be deployed to secure the site. Secret Service said no. The whistleblower further alleges that after the shooting took place, Secret Service changed course, asked the local partner to use the drone technology to surveil the site. This is, of course, after the fact. It's hard to understand why the Secret Service would decline the use of drones when they were offered, particularly given the fact that the Secret Service permitted the shooter to overfly the rally area with his own drone mere hours before. Now think about that. This young man had his own drone out there surveilling the area of where this Trump rally was going to be, knowing he was going to try to kill the president, and the Secret Service declines to use a local law enforcement assistance with their drone to try to get a better idea of how to secure the area. I got a feeling this may be the tip of the iceberg. In September, Senator Hawley appeared on Jesse Waters on the Fox News network and gave us some more shocking details, this time focused on the lead Secret Service agent during the assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania. Hawley stated that not only did the agent fail to at least one of her training exams, but she was also known not to be a quality agent. Despite this, former Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle, a close friend of the Biden crime family, promoted her anyway. Just another example of how equity, inclusion, is more important than having qualified people doing their jobs. And this is what would be scary to me if I'm Donald Trump or anyone, if I'm a protectee of the Secret Service, knowing that they have agents out there now. And look, it was kind of evident. Some of the initial video that we saw of the shooting in Butler, Pennsylvania, remember how some of those women agents, and this is not critical of a female. There are females out there who can do the job. I know a lot of female law enforcement officers who are very qualified. But the ones we saw in those initial minutes following the shooting, they were bumbling around trying to figure out what to do. And they should have been trained to act decisively. Senator Hawley described the pattern that had emerged during his conversations with the whistleblower as the Trump rally was being planned, that they were undermanned, understaffed, and lacked people who had experience, almost as if they were not sending their A-team to protect Trump at these rallies. That's kind of what is being suggested here. Now, again, this is Butler, Pennsylvania, July 13th. Nothing to do with what happened on Sunday. But it's sort of an indicator of the fact that there's probably some work that needs to be done with the Secret Service. Hawley told Jesse Waters that the Secret Service was woefully unprepared to provide adequate protection. He added that training is conducted through webinars on Microsoft Teams, and at the July rally in Pennsylvania, where Trump narrowly escaped an assassination attempt, most of the law enforcement personnel present weren't even Secret Service agents. He says they were DHS officers. So I guess Secret Service is understaffed, undermanned, so they have to borrow officers from another federal agency who aren't even trained to protect a president. Last week, Senator Hawley revealed to Waters that the Department of Homeland Security is ordering the agency to refrain from complying with document requests from members of Congress. So it appears that the Biden regime does not want the truth regarding what really happened on July 13th if the Department of Homeland Security had, in fact, provided officers that day at the request of Secret Service. Now they don't want us to know how many and what they were qualified to do, what they were trained to do. Hawley said, now I'm told the Department of Homeland Security is pressuring the Secret Service not to comply with document requests by Congress about the Trump assassination attempt. What are they hiding from the American people? Good question, Senator. Yesterday, Hawley released his 22-page whistleblower report detailing the failures of the Secret Service on that day. Some of the unreported findings from whistleblowers included Secret Service intelligence units, teams of Secret Service agents paired with state and local law enforcement to handle reports of suspicious persons were absent from the Butler rally. Weren't there, weren't investigating, weren't doing a site scan. The hospital site where the former president was taken to receive treatment after the shooting was poorly secured, and the hospital site agent could not answer basic questions about site security. It's almost as if they weren't expecting anything to happen, which typically it does not, thank goodness. but they weren't prepared when it did and the president was brought there. According to Hawley, to date, Secret Service and DHS have provided virtually no answers, and there remain many outstanding questions, and this past Sunday's events means there's going to be pressure that we get answers to those questions. Senator Hawley wants to know who within the Secret Service and DHS made the decision to deny counter sniper coverage on the rooftop from which Thomas Crooks, this young man, shot President Trump back in July. Many, many questions. We need answers. Your comments are welcome on the Firmin Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Emails always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. Whether you're replacing a broken appliance or maybe you're just upgrading, you're totally remodeling the kitchen, when it's time to get those new appliances, when you're ready for them, you don't want to have to wait weeks or even months to get started using them, right? Well, that's not the case when you shop with my friends at Discounted Appliance Warehouse. With over 11,000 square feet and 1,500 appliances at any given time, you can buy today and use today quite often. I'm talking about shopping with my friends at Discounted Appliance Warehouse in Pickens. It's worth the short drive over to Pickens. Jeff, Johnny, Kyle, the whole team over there, they'll take good care of you. They have an award-winning service department, expert installation, extended warranties, and at Discounted Appliance Warehouse, they treat you like family. You're more than just a credit card swipe to all the team over there. Discounted Appliance Warehouse, they're proud to offer Speed Queen, the only washer and dryers with manufacturer's warranties that cover parts and labor. You owe it to yourself if you're looking for a new appliance to head over to Pickens to Discounted Appliance Warehouse online at dawpickens.com, dawpickens.com. Your comments are welcome on the Firmin Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Emails always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. We all know that the pandemic is over, but yet we still are dealing with a lot of the changes that took place because of COVID. A lot of companies still allowing their employees to work remotely. It's almost become normal. It's kind of like when people are searching for a new job, that's one of the first things they want to know about a company is, will you allow me to work from home? It's probably going to cause one of the next big real estate crises. Because think about this for a minute. You have a lot of companies around the country who have office space, warehouse space, manufacturing space, and employees are no longer coming to do their jobs there, particularly with office space. This is going to be the big crisis, particularly in large cities like New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, maybe Dallas, some of the big cities where you've got all this office space out there being leased but not being used. As those leases come up, companies aren't going to be renewing them. And you're going to have a lot of these big institutional type investors who have invested in these large office buildings, which before COVID was a good investment. It was a good, solid return on your money. A lot of these big real estate, the real estate investment trust funds type vehicles, a lot of insurance companies investing in office buildings because it was reliable income. Now, a lot of them are sitting empty. The companies are not going to be renewing their lease because some companies have come to terms with the idea that if an employee wants to work from home, they're going to let them work from home in order to keep the employee. Not so, says Amazon. Amazon notified their employees yesterday that they're expecting employees to work in person 5 days a week starting next year. CEO Andy Jassy on Monday told Amazon employees that the tech giant was, quote, going to return to being in the office in the way we were before the onset of COVID, effective January 2nd, with the expectation that people will, quote, be in the office outside of extenuating circumstances, or if you already have a remote work exception approved through your S-team leader. Basically, if you have circumstances that would not allow you to be in person, then you can remain working remotely. Otherwise, we're going to expect you back in the office. It represents the latest update to Amazon's rules around in-person and remote work. The tech giant had previously transitioned from remote work to a mandated 3 days in office back in May of this year, saying that they would be making other changes in the coming year, and they have. CEO Jassy linked the new 5-day requirement to Amazon's effort to be better set up to invent, collaborate, and be connected enough to each other and our culture to deliver the absolute best for customers and the business. He also pointed to significant advantages related to culture, engagement, collaboration, and training that he and Amazon believe in-person work provides. And he has a point. Do you believe that in most situations an employee is more productive being in an office, being on site of whatever type of business it is? I mean, some businesses you have to. If you work in a retail store, you have to be in that store. But so many sales organizations, a lot of service type organizations from the standpoint of like accounting firms, I guess, where computer techies, they don't necessarily have to be in an office to do their job. It's just, according to Amazon, you do your job better if you're in the office. Now, a lot of people go to great lengths to try to show, well, yes, I'm just as productive at home as I am in the office. I cry foul on that. Yeah, you may be somewhat productive, but I don't believe anybody is as productive because there's so much that you miss out on. You agree? If you don't agree, send me a quick text. Email me, joey@joeyhudson.com. I'd love to hear from you if you have been working remotely and plan to continue to work remotely. What would you say to your employer if you got a letter like Amazon employees got yesterday? If you've been working remotely and your employer says, "Okay, party's over, January 2nd, you're going to have to be back in the office," would you start looking for another job? Now, he made it very clear that there will be exceptions. He acknowledged that Amazon staffers could work virtually when they had things like illnesses and business travel pre-COVID, and said such circumstances will be understood moving forward as well. So in other words, if there were things that you had exceptions for pre-COVID, then they're still going to work with you. They're not going to just be hard line on this. But if you did not have exceptions before COVID and you just started working remotely because of COVID, it's time to come back. It's basically their message. The company maintains numerous offices, headquarters in Seattle, Washington, Arlington, Virginia, corporate sites in dozens of other places around the world. Jassy told employees Monday, "We're also going to bring back assigned desk arrangements in locations that were previously organized that way, including the U.S. headquarters locations in Puget Sound and in Arlington, Virginia." He said for locations that had agile desk arrangements before the pandemic, including much of Europe, will continue to operate that way. At the same time, Jassy announced the company would adjust its organization structure. Amazon has told they use what they call S-team organizations. They're going to have a larger proportion of individual contributors compared to managers by the end of 2025's first quarter. In other words, if you're a manager with Amazon, you might be dusting off your resume because it looks like he is set to eliminate a layer of management. He said the company's culture has been one of the most critical parts of the company's success over the years. He said that in order to get that back, he's got to have you back in the office. This company is humongous. They have a market capitalization of $1.94 trillion as of yesterday afternoon. Wow! You going to go back to work? If you're given the ultimatum, are you going back or are you going to look for another job? Text me, email me, joey@joeyhudson.com. Hey, you planning to travel to the United Kingdom, to England? The British government has rolled out a new requirement for travelers that are hoping to come visit the King, I guess. It's called an Electronic Travel Authorization, ETA. It's been implemented. It digitizes tourist requests to visit the country while also paying a fee estimated to be about $13. The United Kingdom government site says everyone wishing to travel to the UK except British and Irish citizens will need permission to travel in advance of coming here. Now, that's a novel idea, that you get a little information on somebody before they come into your country. Imagine that, even if it's tourist. The ETAs are linked to a traveler's passport in an effort to smooth security checks and prevent abuse of the immigration system, according to officials. The United Kingdom is introducing ETAs in an effort to increase the way the flow is when people are coming into the country. Look, I don't mind that. I pay now for a separate service. It's called Global Entry. It's something you can sign up for, kind of like the preferred travel domestic plan that you can have. What's it called? Through TSA. With Global Entry, it too is attached to your passport. And when I'm coming back from a trip, I walk in front of a scanner. It scans my face, facial recognition. I walk right through. I don't have to stand in line for someone to look at my passport to take the next step of claiming my luggage. According to the UK, an online form will be made available asking for valid passport information, travel details, an email address, and a credit or debit card, along with suitability questions. So they're going to ask you some questions. They're actually going to ask you, why are you coming to our country? What are your intentions? The ETA applies to anyone visiting for up to 6 months for tourism, to see family and friends, for business, or for short-term study. The Minister of Migration and Citizenship said, quote, the worldwide expansion of the ETA demonstrates our commitment to enhance security through new technology and embedding a modern immigration system. Digitization enables a smooth experience for the millions of people who pass through the border every year, including the visitors we warmly welcome to the UK, who are predicted to contribute over $32 billion to our tourism economy this year. The UK will require all tourists to apply for this electronic travel authorization. The system will open up to all nationalities, except Europeans, this November, and will be required for entry beginning in April of 2025. So if you're planning to go to England next spring after April, be aware of this. Look, again, I think it's a great idea. I don't see why the U.S. doesn't do that. We should be checking everybody who is planning to come to our country. That's our problem, though. We're afraid we're going to offend somebody. We're afraid that we're going to offend some person who wants to come to our country and then get lost and stay here. Speaking of that, boy, I've got a story. Have you heard of the migrant influencer, Lionel Moreno, who is a star on social media? You're not going to believe what he does, what he's gotten away with. A judge has ordered that he be deported. Doesn't look like he's going to go anywhere. The comments are welcome. Send me a quick text. Email me, joey@joeyhudson.com. Speaking of the Firmin Ford text line, it's never been more important to support locally run businesses owned by people who actually live here in the upstate. Let me take a minute to talk with you about our friends at Firmin Ford. If you're looking for a new vehicle, maybe a great pre-owned vehicle, one you can trust, or maybe you're looking to order that special vehicle. Either way, if you want a new one, a brand new one, or a pre-owned that you can trust, the folks at Firmin Ford, they're there to help you. Their name is on the sign because their name is on the line, because every single transaction is important to them. Jim Firmin, Matthew Firmin. They do business the right way. When you stop by, when you give them a call, or maybe when you just send them a quick email, you're always going to have access to a member of the Firmin Ford family. And by the way, they also offer great service, and you're not going to have to wait weeks and weeks to get it done. And you do not have had to purchase your vehicle at Firmin Ford. Doesn't even have to be a Ford. They service all makes and models. Visit my friends at Firmin Ford online at firminford.com, firminford.com. On the text line, texter, hey, Joey, this may be off topic, but my wife and I saw The Forge, and it's a great movie. Many have been saved after watching. Look, I have not seen The Forge. I've heard a lot about it, plan to see it. And it's never off topic. I responded to this texter. It's never off topic when you're talking about exposing someone to Christ, for sure. Faye writes, and these lies that are being spouted will be the Dems' reason to cheat where they can. What have these Dems taken or drunk to make them brain dead? They're the party wanting to end the Supreme Court and destroy the Constitution. Come on, folks. Surely you're not that dumb. No, Faye, we're not that dumb. For sure. We're not going to let them do that. We're going to beat them back. We're going to win in November, Faye. Trust me on this. Texter, Trump's schedule is being leaked by Homeland Security. You know, it is curious, as I mentioned earlier, that this round of golf was not scheduled. It wasn't on his public schedule. And from what I'm gathering, it was a last-minute thing. He just decided, hey, let's go play golf, which he does quite often, I'm told. So it's curious that this guy camped out there for 12 hours. So the question is, did he know something, or did he just know that Donald Trump sometimes likes to play golf on the spur of the moment? He owns the golf club, so I guess he can probably get a tee time anytime he wants it. And he was just taking his chances. He was counting on Trump to be there, and he was just going to wait as long as he had to. Was it just a coincidence, or did he know something that the public didn't know? Texter, what a lame statement from the Florida sheriff at Trump's golf course. I'm assuming you're talking about the sheriff who on Sunday was large and in charge. And look, again, local law enforcement, it appears they did a great job. What I think what some people have were taken aback by was when the local sheriff there, Bradshaw, I think his name, in Palm Beach County, when he said, and I'm sure the Secret Service probably would have loved to have pulled him to the side and said, hey, we don't need you saying that. When he said that maybe Secret Service was just understaffed, and that since Donald Trump is not the president, that he had less protection than if he were a current president. That's not the answer people want to hear. We expect the Secret Service to protect our former presidents just like they protect the current president. Texter, Democrats are always talking about common sense gun laws. Considering that it seems that every rampage shooter and Trump assassin or would-be assassin are crazy libs, maybe it's time we ban liberals from owning guns. Well, look, maybe they could take Kamala up on her idea of just handing in your guns. All liberals should just turn over their guns. I don't think that's going to go over too well with them, do you? Texter, was Ryan Ruth on the FBI watch list? No, he was not. He was not. Has a long list of prior offenses, various things, but he was not on the watch list. Texter, when do we get a statement from Trump saying that he has lost confidence in the Secret Service's ability to keep him alive, and he starts providing his own security? Well, I can bet you that the Trump organization probably has thought about and probably already have implemented things to ensure that he has better private security. Don't you think after Butler that he beefed up his own security? Now, they have to work hand in hand with Secret Service, but I don't think money is an object there. Texter, what's the last day in South Carolina that you can be registered and still vote in this election? I got an email, and I'm going to go over some of those dates for you soon in a program. We're going to talk about the dates when early voting starts and all of that. We'll cover that. I did get an email a minute ago. Says, please remind your South Carolina listeners every single day that the last day for in-person registration. Oh, there's the answer, October 4th, 2024. This is according to Jim, who emailed me. He says, also, South Carolina's first day of early voting starts October 21st at 8:30 a.m. He reminds us there are only a few locations in Greenville County participating in the early voting, but with a current government ID, they can vote at any location. We'll talk about, maybe we'll get some of the local election directors on between now and in the next couple of weeks and talk about where those locations are. Jim says on the first Tuesday in November, everyone must vote in their home precinct, November 5th to be exact. Yes, thank you, Jim. Appreciate that. One final thing. Have you read about this migrant influencer? His name is Lionel Moreno. And this is what's wrong with our whole system and with our country being afraid to send illegals back home. This guy is a social media star. He's many videos have gone viral on TikTok, but particularly one for encouraging illegal border crossers to squat in U.S. homes. He also has some videos that have gone viral of him holding large amounts of cash, saying that he has received the cash from the U.S. government handouts. Well, this young man, he's 27 years old, from Venezuela. He has been ordered by a judge to be deported, to be returned from whence he came. Moreno crossed the southern border illegally in Eagle Pass, Texas on April 23rd, 2022. Guess what? He was released into the country, and guess what else? He failed to appear for his required check-ins with Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Surprise, huh? He was arrested in Columbus, Ohio, after failing to appear. Look, I bet you, and it does, I don't have that in this particular article about him. This is from the New York Post, by the way. I'll bet you he was arrested for something else, not for the fact that he was here illegally. Now, the Post reports that despite the judge's order, he won't be returned anytime soon because deportation flights to Venezuela have been canceled. Right now, no flights from the U.S. go to Venezuela. None. Earlier this year, President Nicolas Maduro's administration stopped accepting flights of migrants deported from the U.S. and Mexico in retaliation for Washington reimposing economic sanctions on the South American country. Well, why don't we just ignore that? If there are people who we need to deport, we need to send back to his country, this is where you put them on a military plane, and the military plane flies down there and lands, whether they want us to or not, and they drop these people off, particularly people like him. Since when does a foreign dictator like this tell us, well, we're not going to take them back. We're not going to take our illegals back. That is what's wrong with Kamala Harris's immigration problem. That's it for today's edition of Just the Truth. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition Studio. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. If you haven't joined our mailing list yet, visit my website, joeyhudson.com. Just click on the Connect with Joey button so that you can receive our emails and the most up-to-date news. Also, find me on YouTube. Be sure and like, subscribe. Follow me on my YouTube channel. Just search for Joey Hudson. Appreciate you spending a few minutes of your day with me. Be sure and forward this edition of Just the Truth to some friends. Just click on the share button. Send it to a few of your contacts, because if we're going to build our community and if we're going to win in November, we got to build an army of conservatives. The way we beat Joe Biden is through educating people, and no better way than encouraging them to listen to Just the Truth. Hey, keep those comments coming via the Firmin Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Your emails always welcome as well. Joey@joeyhudson.com. Don't forget to take advantage of the MyPillow special, $25 for the My Towels 6-piece towel set when you use promo code Joey. Just go to mypillow.com. Always use promo code Joey. We're back again tomorrow. Hope you will be too. Remember, God's got this. He's still in control.